It's Tuesday morning. For most of your adult life, Tuesday meant something before you even opened your eyes. The alarm went off. Coffee had to happen quickly. There were emails waiting, traffic to beat, problems to solve, people expecting answers. Maybe you spent years complaining about meetings, deadlines, performance reviews, or that commute that somehow got worse every year. And then one day it stops. You're retired. No alarm, no boss, no Monday morning meeting. No one cares whether you drink your coffee at 6:30 or 10 morning. People congratulate you. You must love having all that freedom. And you smile because you're supposed to. But by 10:30, you've reorganized half the garage, checked your retirement accounts twice, replied to an email nobody expected you to answer, researched a home repair that could easily wait 6 months, and started wondering whether you should pick up some consulting work. The obvious explanation is boredom. Maybe you just don't know how to relax. But there's another possibility. What if the problem isn't that you suddenly have nothing to do? What if, without something demanding your attention, you're temporarily unsure who you're supposed to be? We tend to imagine retirement as subtraction. Remove the commute, remove the deadlines, remove the boss. Remove the stress, remove the obligations. And underneath all of that, supposedly freedom is waiting. But work wasn't only taking things from you. It was also giving your days a structure you rarely had to think about. You knew when to wake up. You knew where you had to be. You knew which problem mattered first. You knew when the week started and when you had earned the weekend. A job organizes attention almost automatically. Retirement gives much of that responsibility back to you. And that sounds wonderful until you realize that freedom comes with hundreds of tiny decisions. What should you do today? What should you do this week? What deserves your time now? When nothing is urgent, what matters? That kind of open space can feel surprisingly uncomfortable. And if scheduling were the whole problem, the solution would be easy. Buy a planner, join a gym, schedule golf on Thursdays. But for some people, what disappeared wasn't just the schedule, it was the role. Think about how many times someone asked you, "So, what do you do?" For decades, you had an answer. "I'm an engineer. I run a small business. I'm a nurse. I work in sales. I'm a mechanic." That answer described your job, but after 30 or 40 years, it may have started describing you. And work gave you something psychologists sometimes call self-efficacy, the repeated experience of knowing, "I can handle this." A problem appeared. You solved it. Someone needed a decision. You made it. Something broke. You knew what to do. Those moments weren't just producing a paycheck. They were repeatedly confirming your competence. Then retirement arrives, and nobody needs that Tuesday morning decision anymore. The former manager doesn't have a team waiting for direction. The mechanic doesn't have someone dropping off a truck that started making this weird noise yesterday. The nurse is no longer walking into situations where experience immediately matters. You may not miss the job itself. You may miss being unmistakably useful, and this can hit differently for some members of Generation X. Not because every Gen Xer has the same personality, they don't, but many came of age in an environment where independence, adaptability, and figuring things out yourself were highly valued. You learned to keep moving, handle the problem, have a backup plan, and maybe a backup plan for the backup plan. You learned that depending too much on anyone or any institution could feel risky. For some people, this created genuine confidence. You know how to improvise. You know how to solve problems. You've been through recessions, career changes, family responsibilities, technological upheaval, and decades of life refusing to follow the original plan. That competence is real, but competence and protection can look almost identical from the outside. One retired person remodels the kitchen because learning how to do it is genuinely fun. Another remodels the kitchen because sitting in a quiet house at 2 in the afternoon makes them strangely anxious. Same project. Completely different psychological function. That's where retirement can reveal something work kept hidden. For years, productivity may have been more than something you did. It may have been how you regulated yourself. Imagine sitting down on a Wednesday afternoon to watch a movie. There is absolutely nothing you need to do. 20 minutes later, you feel restless. You look toward the kitchen. Maybe the cabinets need organizing. You remember something in the garage. You suddenly decide the gutters should probably be checked. Nothing is actually wrong, but doing nothing somehow feels wrong. If usefulness has spent decades producing approval, security, competence, or self-respect, your brain can learn a very simple association. Doing something feels good. Being needed feels important. Finishing something feels safe. So when the tasks disappear, the emotional reward disappears with them. That doesn't mean you have some hidden disorder, and it doesn't mean every project is avoidance. Sometimes you simply enjoy being active. The more revealing question is what happens when you try to stop. Can you rest without having to justify it? Can an afternoon remain empty without immediately turning into a problem that needs solving? Can someone help you without you feeling uncomfortable about needing them? And retirement introduces another complication: money. For decades, spending money was followed by another paycheck. Then the equation changes. Even someone who planned carefully may look at a perfectly reasonable purchase differently once the income stream changes. A vacation isn't just a vacation. It's money leaving a pool that now feels finite. A new car isn't just transportation. It can become a calculation involving retirement savings, social security, health expenses, inflation, and a question nobody can answer exactly: how long does this money need to last? Some caution is completely rational, but financial vigilance can also blend with something deeper: the desire to remain in control. And control has a powerful psychological appeal when the future becomes less predictable. Health may change. Family members may need help. Markets move. Plans get interrupted. So you track the numbers, you plan, you prepare. Again, that can be wisdom. But there's a difference between planning because it serves your life and planning because uncertainty feels intolerable. And underneath all of this may be the strangest contradiction of retirement. For decades, you may have fantasized about people finally leaving you alone. No emails, no emergencies, no employee calling, no kid needing money, no client saying, "Do you have 5 minutes?" Then, slowly, people actually stop needing you so much. Your children become independent. Coworkers stop calling. The younger person who replaced you learns the job, and the silence you wanted can suddenly feel different than you imagined. Because being needed is exhausting, but being needed also tells you that you matter somewhere. That's the hidden reward of responsibility. It gives your day significance before you have to ask where significance comes from, which is why filling retirement with activities doesn't automatically solve the deeper transition. You can build a calendar so full that it looks exactly like employment with different clothes. Golf Monday, Volunteer Tuesday, Home Project Wednesday, Consulting Thursday, Grandkids Friday. There is nothing wrong with any of that. The question is whether those activities expand your life or protect you from experiencing a life that no longer comes with assigned importance. Two retirees can have equally busy schedules. One is rebuilding an old motorcycle because he finally has time to enjoy the process. Another keeps inventing projects because finishing things is the only reliable way he knows to feel valuable. One volunteers because contributing feels meaningful. Another says yes to every request because saying no creates the terrifying possibility that nobody will need her. From the outside, they look the same. The difference appears inside. So maybe the most useful question isn't, "Why can't I relax?" Maybe it's this: what was responsibility giving me psychologically that retirement suddenly removed? Structure, competence, recognition, belonging, predictability, a sense of control, protection from uncomfortable thoughts, or simply the satisfaction of doing work you genuinely loved? Your answer matters because retirement may not require you to become less active. It may require you to become more deliberate about why you're active. Try noticing one small moment this week when you feel the urge to create another task, fix something immediately, or fill an empty afternoon. Don't automatically stop yourself. Just notice what came right before the urge: curiosity, excitement, boredom, guilt, anxiety. That distinction can tell you more than the activity itself, because perhaps retirement was never supposed to be a life with no purpose. Maybe it is the first stage of adult life when purpose is no longer automatically assigned to you. For decades, someone else helped decide what mattered today. The company, the customers, the bills, the children, the schedule. Now, freedom asks a harder question. If nobody needed anything from you tomorrow, what would you still choose to do? And if that question feels uncomfortable, what are you afraid might disappear with the obligations? The garage can still be organized. The accounts can still be checked. The projects can still be built. But now you can begin to notice whether you're choosing them or recreating the structure you thought you wanted to escape. Because the deepest freedom of retirement may not be having nothing you have to do. It may be discovering that you still matter when nothing needs to be done. If you recognize yourself or someone you know in this, share your experience in the comments and subscribe for more conversations about the psychology hiding inside ordinary life.